A compelling geopolitical confrontation is taking place right before our eyes in the vast and constantly shifting nations of Africa. Two global powerhouses, Russia and France, are engaged in a ferocious struggle for domination on a continent that has been greatly impacted by the shadows of colonial past and shifting power relations. The allegiances and interests of states shift along with Africa's, resulting in a complex and dynamic interaction of power, politics, and ambitions that is drastically transforming the African continent. The story opens with France, a former colonial superpower in Africa, seeing its might progressively decline. France has long maintained a significant presence in its former colonies under the appearance of providing both economic and military help. But in truth, the country is there to exploit the area. Russia, a new actor with ambitions to unseat France as the leading force, is developing as the winds of change blow across the African continent. This conflict between states may appear to be a far-off game at first, but it has a direct effect on millions of Africans on the ground. By embracing Russia, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have taken a brave step. They even flew Russian flags throughout their protests. It appears as though these nations are indicating a change in allegiance, which might have serious repercussions. We need to take a close look at a potent tool in Russia's inventory in order to comprehend how they are gaining this unprecedented power. A group called Wagner. Yevgeny Prigozhin, a Russian millionaire, formed the Wagner Group, a significant private military organization that has grown to be one of Russia's most important instruments of foreign policy. This organization has been putting forth a lot of effort to increase its visibility in Africa since 2017. For clients that include rebel groups and regimes, they offer a range of services, including direct military support and security-related services. The Wagner Group is an intricate web of businesses and mercenary organizations that operates covertly and has close ties to the Russian military and intelligence services. They have about 5,000 members stationed in Africa, including both foreigners and former Russian military personnel. They effectively combine military might with commercial interests by maintaining their influence through a combination of direct payments and resource concessions. The Central African Republic is one region where the Wagner Group has influence. Around 1,000 Wagner soldiers entered the nation in 2018 to support President Faustin Archange Touadere's government during rebel attacks. In exchange, a Wagner affiliate received logging rights and ownership of the successful Ndesima gold mine. This showed how the group might combine its military and commercial objectives. In 2019, the Wagner gang also had a brief but meaningful encounter in Mozambique. The team was sent to the northern Cabo Delgado province to aid in the conflict with the self-declared Islamic State. They were unable to put an end to the insurgency, thus, they withdrew after a few months. This incident demonstrated the difficulties of deploying private military companies to achieve intricate geopolitical goals. There are speculations that the Wagner Group may be working with Chadian rebels to unseat the country's interim president as they continue to increase their footprint in the Sahel. Another prospective customer is Burkina Faso, which is looking into Wagner's services to combat a rising jihadist insurgency, particularly in light of France's withdrawal of its troops from the nation. However, this is not a new trend. Russia's comeback in Africa can be attributed to Vladimir Putin, who launched an initiative to re-establish his nation's influence on the continent in 2006. After the Soviet Union fell apart in 1991, Russia's influence in Africa significantly decreased, prompting this reaction. With a strong emphasis on arms sales, Moscow signed 19 military cooperation agreements with African nations between 2015 and 2019. Russia has established itself as Africa's top arms exporter, drastically shifting the region's power dynamics. Putin made the case for battling Western neo-colonialism during the July 2023 summit between Russia and Africa. The Wagner Group and Russia appear to have been working on a comprehensive strategy to drive France out of Africa for the past 2 years. Russia's expanding influence in Africa is a major source of concern for the West, especially the United States. The United States has provided economic and military support to African nations in an effort to resist this influence. However, it's still unclear if the United States will be able to give the African nations the assistance they require. If Russia can effectively challenge the United States for influence in Africa, Russia's capacity to offer an alternative to what Western nations have provided in recent decades sets it distinct in this power contest. It demonstrates Russia's heightened assertiveness on the international stage and determination to engage in direct rivalry with Western countries for influence in crucial regions. Russia's great plan to drive France out of Africa signifies a seismic shift in geopolitics. However, it's crucial to keep in mind that African countries have their own interests within the fierce competition for influence. These interests will serve as the foundation for their decisions on development and security. Africa's future depends on how its countries react to Russia's expanding influence. The big question lurks over everything. Is Russia about to expel France from Africa, or has it already done so? Only time will be able to definitively answer this question when the dust settles on this vast and complicated continent's shifting sands. The conflict between Russia and France over geopolitical sway in Africa is nuanced and ever-evolving. A dynamic and potentially transformative situation has arisen on the African continent as a result of the fall in French power and Russia's aggressive attempts to fill the hole. It is important to recognize the Wagner Group's significance in Russia's strategy, since it blurs the distinction between military might and commercial objectives. The final result of this geopolitical conflict is still up in the air as the countries of Africa manage their own interests and alliances. The influence of Western countries, especially the United States, is also at work as they try to balance out Russia's expanding power in Africa. With Russia positioning itself as a serious rival to Western nations for influence in a crucial region, this power struggle signals a fundamental shift in world geopolitics. The choices and priorities of its states will determine how Africa develops in the future. The world waits in suspense as the sands of Africa continue to move to see if Russia will be successful in driving France out of Africa, or if a different outcome is on the horizon. What are your thoughts on this exposition, though, for those of you who are viewing this video? Do you believe Russia will defeat the Western power in this conflict? Comment below with your thoughts and let us know what you think. Thank you for viewing.